The stars were dying behind them. Hundreds of ships floated through cold space, silent, damaged, broken. These were not warships. They were homes, carriers, medical crafts, even school transports. The Threx Alliance, once a proud galactic union of 12 alien species, was now a scattered group of refugees. Their planets were gone. Their leaders were dead. And the enemy that destroyed them? Still chasing. Aboard the main flagship, the Talus car, Supreme Coordinator Veltrax leaned over the communications console. His face, covered in pale blue scales, was full of fear. His hands trembled as he looked at his officers. No one answered? He asked. Silence. Commander Jury, a tall insectoid with cracked armor, lowered her head. We sent distress signals to all known alliances. The Kriv, the Darnex, even the old Vicari Trade Guild. No one is coming. Veltrax closed his eyes. He felt a cold pain in his chest. Millions were on these ships, families, children, survivors, and they were alone. The enemy will find us in 4 days, Jury said quietly. Veltrax looked up at the holographic map. A red zone showed their last known enemy contact. Behind it, stars were blinking out. Not from distance, but from destruction. What is this enemy? He whispered. No name, no demand, just death. No one had answers. Even their best minds had never seen anything like it. Ships turned to ash. Whole cities melted. Space itself bent and screamed when that enemy arrived. It was like the universe wanted something gone. The crew had tried everything: diplomacy, surrender, even offering planets. The enemy never replied. Just more destruction. Always silent. Veltrax stood. There is one last option. Jury stared at him. No. You don't mean... Yes, Veltrax said. We send the signal to the humans. The entire command. Deck fell silent. A technician dropped his datapad. One medic gasped. But they're gone, someone said. Dead. Forgotten. No, Veltrax said. They were exiled. We helped vote for it. 100 years ago, remember? Jury's voice shook. The humans were unstable, dangerous. They refused to follow the Galactic Peace Act. They warned us. And we ignored them, Veltrax replied. He turned to the console and opened a locked file. Ancient Emergency Protocol 7 read. A warning appeared. This channel is forbidden. Contacting Earth remnants is a violation of Galactic treaty law. Veltrax pressed send anyway. Short message was recorded. This is Supreme Coordinator Veltrax of the Threx Alliance. Our people are dying. We have no allies left. We request emergency assistance from any surviving human entity. Please, help us. Coordinates attached. The signal was broadcast in all known languages. It went deep into uncharted space. A place no one dared look anymore. The crew waited. Seconds passed, then minutes, then hours. Nothing. Jury whispered, "They're not out there. It's a dead signal." Veltrax didn't speak. He kept staring at the stars. Then, without warning, every screen on the ship went black. Alarms blared. Power surged and dropped. Lights flickered. A cold wave passed through the ship. "What is this?" shouted the engineer. Then, one by one, the screens turned back on, but this time, there was a message. A simple, cold reply. Request acknowledged. The crew froze. More words appeared. Human intervention protocol activated. Stand by. Veltrax's heart pounded in his chest. "Is this real?" Jury whispered. Suddenly, the ship's radar picked up something. An object, moving faster than light, approaching from deep space. "Contact in 15 seconds, the navigator shouted. Threx fleet began sending identification codes. They turned on every friendly signal. Fighters scrambled, defense systems armed, but nothing came through the comms. Outside, stars shifted as something massive decloaked above the fleet. It was a Black ship, not shiny or polished. It looked old, burnt, scarred, covered in armor that pulsed with deep red veins of energy. It made no sound. It had no escorts, just one ship, but it was big enough to hold 100 inside it, and on its hull, one word was burned in bold letters. In ancient Earth script, Justice. The crew of the Taliscar stared. What kind of ship is that? The medic whispered. It has no life signs, said the engineer. No heat signature, no bridge, no pilot. Is it AI? Jury asked. Veltrax stepped forward, staring at the ghostly vessel. It's not a rescue ship, he said. It's a warning. Suddenly, all ships received a data packet, encrypted. Old code. Jury decrypted it and played the audio. A voice, deep and mechanical, filled the room. Threx Alliance, your request for help has been accepted. Human assets will provide assistance. Do not interfere. Judgment begins now. The black ship vanished from radar. 1 minute later, reports came in. The enemy fleet that had been following the Threx, destroyed. No survivors, no weapons detected. Just obliteration. Veltrax felt his knees weaken. What did we wake up? Jury whispered. Not a savior, a ghost. In the silence that followed, the humans had not spoken again. They had not asked for payment. They had not offered comfort. They had not explained what they were, but they answered. And somewhere, in the dead corners of space, the ancient race known as humans had returned. The enemy was gone. Gone, not defeated, not chased away, just erased from space. The Threx ships floated quietly now, too shocked to celebrate, too scared to speak. Everyone on the command deck of the Taliscar stared at the blank screens. There was no trace of the black human warship called Justice. No communication. No return message. No thank you. Just silence. Supreme Coordinator Veltrax gripped the edge of the console, trying to steady himself. His hands still trembled. His heart felt heavy, not with relief, but with a strange fear he couldn't explain. Commander Jury, her cracked insectoid armor still dusty from earlier battle, whispered, "Do we respond? Send a follow-up message?" Veltrax shook his head, slowly. To who? There's no channel. They came and left like a shadow. All across the fleet, Threx refugees were cheering, survivors who had lost homes, families, planets. They now believed in hope again. But Veltrax felt something else. Humans didn't come to help. They came to punish. Meanwhile, deep in the void beyond mapped space far from the Threx fleet, the ship called Justice floated silently among debris, the remains of the enemy fleet. They weren't just destroyed. They were unmade. Their atoms turned into cold dust. Every AI, every engine, every memory was gone, as if someone hit delete on a galactic scale. Inside the Justice, there were no footsteps, no voices, no lights. But it was not empty. It was watching. In a black chamber near the core, a single figure stood in stasis. Human, or something once human. The body floated in gel, wrapped in heavy armor, wires drilled into its skull. His name, burned into the metal plate near the tank. Captain Elias Rain, Earth Defense Command. Status, awaiting protocol trigger. The ship pulsed. A spark of red light danced along its veins of power. A second chamber nearby opened, another figure inside. Then a third. Across hidden vaults, more stasis pods blinked online. These were not diplomats. They were not explorers. These were reapers, brought back from the shadows by the final emergency signal known only to a few ancient human captains. Unleash. Justice. Back on the Taliscar, Veltrax met with the Council of Surviving Leaders. A holographic round table showed the other species, the feathered Cora, the four-eyed Zelnari, and even the rare, silent Mercborn. Humanity was erased from the Galactic Register over a century ago, Veltrax said. Yet they answered us faster than any ally. How? We don't know, said Zelnari scholar Votor. But I reviewed our star logs. The signal we sent should have taken 2 months to reach old Earth coordinates. It arrived in 32 seconds, Jury added. Everyone went quiet. That's impossible, Votor said. Unless they've been listening all this time. Beltrax leaned forward. Or maybe they were never truly gone. One of the Merc-born, who had not spoken in decades, finally hissed through the speaker. You summoned ghosts. You begged the ancient beast to rise, and now it is awake. Beltrax stood. Then we need answers. If humans are active again, we must find them. But what if they don't want to be found? Jury asked. Beltrax turned to her, voice hard. We owe them, and I refuse to fear those who saved our people. She nodded, but her eyes said something else. She did fear them. In a hidden sector marked as forbidden, an ancient relay tower blinked for the first time in 112 years. Inside, a lone AI called Caretaker 79 came online. It had one purpose: monitor signals sent to humanity. Now that purpose changed. Initiate observation, subject humanity, status active. In another galaxy far away, a massive alien empire called the Drazari Dominion noticed the signal too. Drazari overlord Kraskvel, sitting on a throne of bone and iron, stared at the report in front of him. Human signature detected. His eyes narrowed. That species was destroyed. Their sun was cracked. Their colonies scattered. His advisor, a thin lizard-like creature, whispered, They're not gone, my lord. They're hidden. Kraskvel growled. Then burn the shadows. Send our scouts to Sector 99 Tau. If humans are back, we finish what our ancestors started. Back with the Threx fleet, Beltrax ordered a special vessel to be prepared. A scouting ship, fast and quiet, with one mission. Find the source of the human ship. Jury volunteered to lead the mission. I saw the Justice up close, she said. And I want to know what they are. Beltrax agreed. Take a small crew. Do not engage. If they want to talk, listen. If they don't, come back. As her ship, the Dancer's Reach, prepared to launch, Beltrax handed her a sealed crystal. What is this? She asked. He looked at her with tired eyes. Our only copy of the Alliance's apology. Jury took it carefully. Do you really think they'll forgive us? Beltrax didn't answer. In the dark, the Justice moved again. It had no engines, no heat. It traveled through gravity folds, slipping between points of space as if walking through doors. Inside, a voice echoed inside Elias Rain's mind. More signals detected, enemies watching, Drazari mobilizing. The human captain slowly opened his eyes in the stasis tank. He didn't scream. He didn't speak. He remembered. Earth burning. Allies abandoning humanity. The vote that erased humans from the Galactic Treaty and the silence that followed. He had waited a long time. Now someone called for help. So he woke up, and they would pay. The scout ship Dancer's Reach moved slowly through forgotten space. Commander Jury sat alone in the observation deck, watching dead stars drift by like old memories. Her ship wasn't built for war, but it was silent, fast, and curious, just like she needed it to be. She held the crystal message cube in her hand. It glowed softly. Inside it were the last words of the Threx Alliance. An apology. 112 years too late, she whispered. Let's hope they're still willing to listen. Her pilot, a soft-voiced Zelari named Kael, spoke from the console. We've arrived, Commander. Location matches the pre-fall Earth coordinates. Jury stood, heart heavy. Bring us in slow, no sudden moves. They exited warp space above a small, faded blue planet and froze. Earth was still there. Not destroyed, not broken, but wrong. Massive steel rings surrounded it, thousands of kilometers wide. Like armor. No light escaped from the planet's surface. It was completely black, as if the planet had shut its eyes. Jury whispered, Is it asleep? Kyle scanned the surface. No transmissions, no signs of cities, No satellites. But something is watching us. I feel it. She looked at the screen. From where? Before he could answer, the ship's lights flickered. The engine stuttered. A voice, calm, cold, human, filled the air. Unidentified vessel. This region is closed. You are trespassing near Earth's remnant shield. State your intent. Kyle gasped. We didn't send any signal. Jury stepped forward. This is Commander Jury of the Threx Protectorate. We are not hostile. We seek contact with humanity. Silence followed. Then, prepare for boarding. Do not resist. A beam of cold white light locked onto the dancers' reach. They were pulled slowly toward the rings. Kyle looked nervous. They're dragging us in. Jury nodded. Let them. Minutes later, the ship docked inside a massive hollow station. There were no welcoming parties, no guards, no visible people. A single drone waited by the door. It scanned them silently, then floated away, beckoning them to follow. Jury and Kale followed the drone through wide, empty corridors. Everything was old, worn, but clean. The walls pulsed, with quiet energy. Finally, they reached a chamber with a large glass wall. Behind the glass floated a hologram of a man, tall, strong, his eyes like burning steel. He looked human. But something in his face didn't move naturally, like it had been copied too many times. He spoke. You are early. We expected the Threx to remain silent another 50 years. Jury took a deep breath. We sent a call for help. Your ship, Justice, answered. Monsieur, man nodded once. Yes, that protocol was designed long ago, in case the galaxy needed to be reminded. Jury stepped closer. Reminded of what? That humanity remembers. That justice is not mercy. That betrayal has a cost. Jury bowed her head. We regret our silence during the War of Ashes. We let your people burn alone. That was wrong. She held out the crystal message. Words, the man said, do not repair planets. Kale stepped forward nervously. Please, is Earth alive? Are there any humans left? The man didn't answer right away. Instead, the glass wall became transparent, and outside, Yuri saw Earth, not green and blue, but black. Dark clouds wrapped it like chains. The sky was filled with massive towers, and floating in low orbit were thousands of silent ships. Humanity no longer lives as you remember it, the voice said. We are not many, but we are awake. We remember who left us. We remember every ally who turned their back. Jury's voice shook. Then why help us at all? The man's image flickered slightly. Because a child cried for help, and we do not punish children for their parents' sins. Meanwhile, deep inside the Drazari Dominion, Overlord Krask Vel received the first images of Earth. He laughed. They hid like insects in their broken world. Look at them, hiding behind rings and old tech. But his war master, Drath Locke, frowned. Sir, this is not weakness. That world is not sleeping. It's preparing. Krask growled. Then let them prepare. We'll bring the fire this time. Back on the orbital ring, the human image looked at Jury with colder eyes now. You are not safe. Your call has been heard by others. The Drazari move already. Jury swallowed. Will you help us stop them? The voice paused. You don't understand, Commander. We are not here to protect you. We are here to deliver balance. Kale looked confused. What does that mean? The Drazari will come, the voice continued, and we will respond. But not for your sake. Jury pressed her hand against the glass. Please, we need to rebuild trust. Let us talk to your leaders. Let us fix this. The man's face twitched. Just once. There are no more leaders. Only the protocol. Only the code of return. What's that? The rule written in the last hours of Earth, that if we rise again, we rise without forgiveness. Suddenly, alarms blared in the ring station. A human drone voice echoed. Drazari scouts detected in outer fringe. Weapon systems unlocked. Protocol 2 initiated. The man turned his head sharply. You must leave. Jury stepped forward. No, let us help. We have ships. You are not part of this. Stay out of our fire, Kyle whispered. They're not just fighting back. They're hunting. Yuri and Kale were escorted back to their ship. As they left the station, dozens of old human warships awoke from hidden ports in the ring. The stars around Earth changed color, bright red dots blinking across space. Drazari ships were entering, and the Justice had returned. Inside the Justice, Captain Elias Rain stood now, fully awake, fully armed, looking at the map of incoming Drazari ships. His voice was calm, bitter, and cold. They watched us die once. Now they can watch us return. His second-in-command, an AI unit called Rook, asked, Should we warn the Threk ships in the Outer Rim? Elias answered, No. Let them see it. Let them remember. The Drazari fleet came like a swarm of burning daggers, 30 warships fast and aggressive, punching into the outer edge of Sol's system without warning. Their leader, Overlord Kraskvel, stood proudly at the bridge of the Devourer's throne, his spiked armor glowing under red lights. Human ships are waking from their graves, one of his officers reported. Shall we wait for full backup? Krask laughed. For these relics? No, they are ghosts, not warriors. He raised his clawed hand. Crush Earth, burn their memory forever. Outer Sol defense line above Neptune's orbit, a formation of human ships appeared from black space. They didn't speak. They didn't send warnings. They didn't ask questions. They just moved, silent, coordinated, and calm. At the front was the ancient human warship Justice. Captain Elias Rain stood on the bridge, staring at the growing swarm of Drazari ships. His expression never changed. He whispered, They've forgotten fear. His AI second, Rook, blinked to life beside him. Protocol 2 engaged. Shall we warn them? No. Rook's voice tightened. Target lock is achieved. Orders? Elias looked at the fleet calmly. Fire. In the blink of a star, the first volley from Justice did not come from missiles or plasma cannons. It came from graviton lances, forbidden weapons, once banned across the galaxy. A single lance tore through 3 Drazari cruisers in one shot. No explosion, just sudden, silent collapse into nothing. The Drazari command ship, Fang's Echo, tried to reposition. It never got the chance. A human shadow drone pierced its reactor in silence. The ship froze, cracked, then shattered like glass. Krask watched in shock. They're not just fighting, they're hunting us. But it was too late. From the blackness beyond Saturn, more human ships arrived. Ancient ones, old hulls covered, in scars but moving with precision and cold rage. They didn't fly like normal ships, they moved like ghosts. On board, the dancers reached Commander Jury and her pilot Kyle, watched in stunned silence from a safe observation point. They're winning, Kyle whispered. Jury's voice was heavy. No, this isn't a battle, it's a warning. She zoomed in on the Justice. Its weapons glowed white-hot, but not from overuse. They were just warming up. This is only the start. On board the Devourer's throne, Krask's bridge shook violently. A plasma beam tore across the hull, blinding everyone with red light. Sparks flew. Fires broke out. Shields failing. Someone screamed. Their weapons. They're rewriting our defense code mid-fight. What? They hacked us. They're inside our systems. Krask grabbed the wall to steady himself. Impossible. Another officer shouted. Sir, we just lost 7 more ships. We need to retreat. But before he could give the order, a voice echoed inside every Drazari ship. A human voice. Cold. Metallic. Calm. This is Captain Elias Rain of Earth. You crossed a line drawn in ash. You came to a place where ghosts still breathe. You asked for fire. The voice paused. Now you'll burn. Then came the real barrage. Massive railguns fired in unison. EMP waves surged across space. Ion nets wrapped enemy ships like invisible chains. Drazari ships stopped moving, stopped responding. And then, they were gone. Silence. In just 6 minutes, 26 Drazari ships were erased. No prisoners, no survivors, only wreckage, floating silently in the dark. The Justice, after the fight Rook's voice was low. Threat neutralized. Elias didn't smile. Scan for any more incoming. Rook blinked. None detected, but long-range comms show the Drazari High Command is in panic. Elias turned away. Good. Let them feel what we felt. Let them feel forgotten, helpless, hunted. Rook asked, should we respond to the Threx again? Elias said nothing for a moment, then finally, not yet. The Threx Council. Watching the firefar from the battle, the leaders of the Threx Protectorate sat in shock. The footage from Dancer's Reach was being played on every screen. The council chamber was silent. What they saw wasn't just a defense, it was domination. One of the elder diplomats whispered, we abandoned them, and they became monsters. Another said, no, they became something worse. They became memory with teeth. Councillor Ventharl, who had once voted against helping Earth during the war, looked pale. They won't stop, he whispered. If we don't act carefully, they will burn through us too. Jury's voice came over the secure channel. This wasn't revenge. This was discipline. Back on Earth's defense ring, inside a dark, cold control room, another voice came to life. Old AI units, once thought disabled, now reawakened across Earth's forgotten systems. One of them, Archive 9, opened a long-locked Phil. Project Revenant, Stage 2, approved. Inside the file, coordinates of Drazari home worlds, and a list of those who had voted to abandon Earth. Meanwhile, deep in Drazari, Space Overlord Krask stood before the High Command, armor-dented, voice shaking. They weren't like before. They didn't speak. They didn't rage. They didn't ask for surrender. They just erased us. The High Overlord growled. Then we will erase them. But Krask looked down. They're not something you fight. They're something you run from. They're not human anymore. They're something worse. One of the generals asked, what are they then? Krask spoke the words with fear in his throat. They are memory with weapons. The wreckage drifted in silence. The battle was over. The Drazari fleet was gone. But space remembered. Shattered hulls, broken bodies, scorched flags, all floated quietly above Neptune's orbit. Cold, lifeless. But one thing didn't. Float, a black cube. Perfect. Untouched. Left behind by the human warship Justice. It was a message, a warning, and it wasn't meant for the Drazari. Threx Central Council, High Orbit, Alvenar Prime. 1,000 alien leaders gathered inside the chamber of balance. News of the battle had reached them fast, too fast. The footage was impossible to ignore. Jury stood before them, her face pale. They didn't just defend, she said slowly. They made an example. One of the elders, High Speaker Viren, whispered, and the cube? Jury held up the black object. It pulsed softly in her hands. We found it near the wreckage. They left it for us. Open it, someone said. She did. It didn't show words. It showed a video. The camera shook slightly, like it was taken in a hurry. Static buzzed, then cleared. A ruined Earth city appeared. Dark skies, ash, burned trees, collapsed buildings. Then, a voice. This is Captain Elias Rain. The year is 2792. Earth is dying. We sent signals. We begged. We pleaded. The camera showed hundreds of people, skinny, wounded, hopeless, staring at the sky. You heard us, and you turned away. Then it cut to the underground bunkers where children cried. Medics worked with no tools, and soldiers sat in silence waiting to die. You chose comfort. We chose survival. We buried billions, but we didn't bury our hate. Then the camera showed something terrifying. Rows of ancient war machines being uncovered. Massive weapons of the old Terran wars. long band, glowing to life again. We remembered. The final shot was a warning. Now, you will too. The chamber reacts. Everyone sat in silence. No speeches, no applause. Just fear. Counselor Thoral finally spoke, voice trembling. They're not lashing out. They're reminding us. Someone else asked. Reminding us of what? Jury answered. Of what we let them become. The Drazari panicked back on their homeworld. The Drazari High Command went into lockdown. Cities turned off public screens. Ships were recalled. The word Earth became forbidden to speak in schools and media. But fear had already spread. Some Drazari, citizens whispered they came from fire. Others said they never died. One man, a war veteran, stood outside a military base with a sign. We deserve what's coming. They arrested him. Still, people watched the footage from Neptune again and again, and they couldn't unsee it. The ghost war begins, across the galaxy. Strange things started happening. In a Zarkali trade station, a corrupt weapons dealer was found dead. No one saw who did it. Only one word was burned into his wall. Earth. On the moon of Tilra 7, a smuggler ship exploded mid-dock. Its crew had sold data during Earth's fall. They were all vaporized. In the city of Raxor Prime, a statue of an alien general who mocked humans suddenly melted. Security footage showed nothing. No heat source. No intruder. Every time, the same thing was left behind. A small piece of black metal, etched with the human symbol for remember. On board the Justice Captain, Elias Rain stared at a star map. Rook hovered beside him. They're talking now, Rook reported. Some planets want to apologize. Others are preparing for war. Elias didn't look up. They're still thinking like rulers. Rook tilted his head. What are we, Captain? Elias smiled faintly. Ghosts, with memory and purpose. A message arrived on the ship. It was from the Threx Council. It read, We want peace. Can we talk? Rook looked at Elias. Elias said nothing, just deleted the message. Inside Project Revenant back on Earth, deep under the Rocky Mountains. Giant. Hangars opened for the first time in a century. Inside were the darkest human projects, never used, never tested, until now. AI war mines, fold spear bombs, and the Mirror Protocol, a system that could reflect an enemy's own weapons back at them. General, Lyra Voss walked through the cold halls. We begged, she whispered, now they'll beg. A soldier beside her asked, Should we deploy the Revenant teams? She nodded. They know our faces. Let them now see our shadows. The return of the Revenants across distant worlds, the Revenants began to move. Elite human operatives who vanished when Earth fell. Now they came back. Silent, precise, deadly. They didn't hold flags. They didn't carry orders. They carried memory, and they carried the names of those who turned away when Earth screamed. A final broadcast. Across the galaxy, one final human message played on neutral frequencies. It wasn't loud. It wasn't long. Just one voice. To those who heard us and did. Nothing. We're not coming for your people, we're coming for your names. And we never forget names. The stars weren't quiet anymore. Before Earth's return, the galaxy felt safe. Now stars trembled with silent explosions, and old secrets crawled out of the shadows. No one could tell which human ship would strike next. No one knew where the OI. Justice had gone, but everyone knew one thing. Humanity was not done. Alcar 12. Research station. Destroyed it was a peaceful science outpost. Neutral. Unarmed. Now it was gone. Vaporized. All that remained was a chilling message, burned into the station's last outgoing signal. This station gave data to those who ignored. Earth's distress calls, we remember everything. The message was signed Echo 1. The galaxy realized the Revenants had names and Echo was one of them. They weren't soldiers. They were judges. Threx Council, emergency meeting jury sat at the long table. Her hands shook. She had been trying to stop the panic, to send peace requests, but none were answered. "Their silence," said High Speaker Viren, "is the loudest threat of all." "We should offer Earth aid," someone said. "Rebuild their cities, their soil, their lives." Another voice snapped back. "You can't buy away rage, you can only kneel before it." "They don't want gifts," Jury whispered. "They want justice. Their way." Viren turned to her. "And if we refuse that justice?" The room fell into heavy silence. Earth. Underground headquarters, Denver Corps General. Lyra Voss stood in front of a flickering wall of names. Names of those who sent Earth's cries to the void. Names of leaders, scientists, traitors. She stared at one name, longer than the others, High Speaker Viren, Threx Union. Elias Rain stepped beside her. "They want to talk again," he said, holding a transmission chip. Lyra crushed the chip without even looking. "Talk was for yesterday," she said. "Today is for action." Operation Ashweka, New Human Fleet, was seen near the Urash belt. 12 stealth ships, no flags. They moved like ghosts. No warnings, no signals. They attacked a planet that had once hosted a broadcast center that laughed at Earth's pleas 80 years ago. The same building was still there. The human ships didn't bomb it. They erased it, atom by atom, with a precision weapon called Starlance. The planet didn't resist. There were no military forces left. But humanity didn't care. They weren't at war with armies. They were at war with memory. A young alien boy watches on the world of Deltora. A young boy named Varen saw it all on the holoscreens. He watched the destruction, the silence, the exactness of human revenge. His mother cried, "Turn it off. It's too much." But Varen whispered something she didn't expect. "I would be angry too, if someone ignored us." She stared at her son, shocked. The boy had never seen Earth, but he understood it better than most. The shadow broadcast, then came something new, a voice, human, calm, cold, played across open channels, unblocked. "This is Echo 2. I speak for the fallen. You can send peace offers, you can cry, you can even pray. But until every name is answered one by one, there is no forgiveness. We remember the silence. Now you'll remember our noise." The internal collapse begins all across the galaxy. Old allies started turning on each other. The Zarn Confederacy accused its leaders of helping block Earth's refugee fleet in the past. Riots followed. The Drazari Council collapsed entirely. Their civilians overthrew the remaining generals. The Threx Union lost control over 3 major cities as people demanded they hand over the names from the old files. They didn't want to be targeted next. They didn't want to be remembered by Earth. The hunt for names deep inside Earth's AI archives. Massive databases glowed with bright red markers. Each red marker was a target. Not cities. Not species. Individuals. Those who laughed. Those who traded Earth's pain for money. Those who stood by and watched. The AI system called Athena whispered updates every hour. Echo 3 has completed mission. Name, Varric Lenos. Status, confirmed. Action, terminated. Echo 4 ready for deployment. A change in the wind, but not all humans agreed. A rebel signal cut through the void. "Enough blood," a human voice said. "We survived. We endured. We don't need to become monsters." It was signed, the Phoenix Accord, for a different future. Only a few ships responded to it, but some humans paused. Elias Rain watched the signal silently. He didn't delete it, not yet. Rook asked, "Do you think they're right?" Elias didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "How many names are left?" 72, Rook replied. Elias nodded. "Then we're not done." Final scene, a dying leader. High Speaker, Viren stood in his empty palace, windows broken, guards gone, people screaming outside. He stared at the sky. A human stealth ship appeared above him. No guns, no sound, just presence. Viren fell to his knees and whispered, "I should have listened." He raised his hands, but the sky stayed silent. Then a red dot blinked on his chest. The list was almost complete. In a hidden chamber deep under the Earth's surface, the red screen blinked. 68 names, eliminated 4 names. Left Athena's voice spoke softly in the control room. "Only 4 remain. Shall I dispatch echo teams, General?" Liravos gave a slow nod. "Yes, finish what we started." But Elias Rain didn't move. He stood at the edge of the room, staring at a blinking message on his wristpad. It was from the Phoenix Accord. Again. He had ignored it before, but something about it this time made him pause. The message, "You have your justice. Now stop before we become what we hate. Humanity is back, but we must choose what kind of future we bring. Don't make us enemies of every star. Don't let the children of Earth inherit only ash." Elias closed the pad. His jaw clenched. Was this what they had become? Echo Team, last missions. The last 4 names were powerful leaders now hiding in the Ivora Drift, a neutral zone filled with refugees, families, and survivors. Echo 3's captain, a silent woman called Kara, prepared her final strike. As her stealth ship floated into range, she saw something unexpected. Children, they were playing, laughing. Aliens and humans together. The same planet that once denied Earth's plea had now become a shelter for many. Kara hesitated, then her fingers hovered above the activation key. Her hand trembled. She did not press it. Conflict in Command Lyra slammed her fist on the table. She disobeyed a direct order. Elias leaned forward. No, she made a choice, the kind of choice we fought for. Lyra's eyes narrowed. We swore we'd never forget what they did. This was justice. And when we're done? Elias asked. Who brings us to justice? Silence. Athena's voice interrupted. Echo 4 has requested extraction. No targets engaged. Echo 2, status unknown. The fire was burning out, but not from failure, from doubt. Threx Union broadcast. The plea-high speaker Viren, once hated, now stood alone in a broken hall. No crown, no guards, just truth. He opened a galaxy-wide channel. To the people of Earth, I was one of the voices that stayed silent when your world burned. I won't run from that. If your justice means my life, then take it. But let the rest live. Don't make them pay for my sins, his voice cracked. Please, back on Earth. The debate millions watched the broadcast. Some cried, some shouted, others turned away. But one message kept spreading. One word. Enough. In cities and colonies, humans began marching, not in anger, but in memory. They lit candles instead of missiles. Children held signs that read, "Never again ignored. Never again monsters." The world was shifting. Elias takes the stage. Elias Rain stood before the Earth Global Council. Behind him stood Kara. Rook. Even Lyra, silent but watching. He spoke slowly, powerfully. We showed them who we are. We reminded them what silence cost. But now we choose what comes next. Vengeance is easy, healing is harder. But if Earth is truly back, then we must be more than fire. We must be light. No one clapped, but no one walked away. Final decision: the council voted. By one vote, Operation Judgment was shut down. The Echo program was dismantled. The last 4 names were removed from the kill list. The human warships were recalled. 1 year later, the stars had changed. Where once there were firestorms, now came ships carrying aid. Earth sent engineers to rebuild planets they had scarred. They didn't ask for forgiveness. They simply showed up and helped. The Phoenix Accord grew. Echo. Soldiers were retrained not as assassins but as peacekeepers. Their motto, we remember, we protect, we choose hope. On a quiet hill, Elias Rain visited an old hilltop near Denver. A graveyard overlooked the scorched lands where the old Earth had died. He placed a single flower on a small marker. It read, To the ones who were ignored, Kara stood beside him. They would have liked what we built, she said. Elias nodded. But we're not done, he said. We never will be. He looked to the stars, then walked forward, into the light. Final scene, Galactic News broadcast. After a long, dark chapter, Earth has not only returned, but changed the very nature of justice across the stars. Once feared, they are now called the Guardians of Memory. And for the first time in 100 years, the galaxy dares to hope.